YouTube, what the crap's going on? Era of Carthage back, and I have some good fights coming up for you. I got to fight several fights against the same player, and then I actually got to play a 2v2 with him. This all happened in quick battle, which was kind of cool. So the first match was myself as Pontus, with him playing as Athens, and he brought kind of an unexpected build again here. Not a lot of cav, which kind of makes sense. Athens not real good with cav. He's got 5 thorax swords, which is a significant threat, and then 5 heavy hoplites. 4 of them are the mercenary veteran hoplites. And then he's got quite a few peltas. I've been seeing quite a few peltas in the last few matches. I guess they're I haven't used them a lot recently, but maybe I've just been underestimating them ever since they got a little bit of a nerfing. But yeah, so he's got 2 Cretan archers up front, a bunch of peltas. He's using Athens as a skirmish faction, basically here with a lot of holding power. And that makes sense. Athens probably the strongest at skirmishing. My army, on the other hand, I believe looks like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 8 Pontic swordsmen. I brought a sword corps with Pontus. And then I have 4 noble blood cav, 2 on each flank, and then I've got a scythe chariot. I had not seen or used scythe chariots in a very long time, and decided that it was worth giving them another test run. I've been told that they're a lot easier to kill, but I sit there and wonder about they're easier to kill. Maybe they don't have as much mass now, so there's a few things I know about chariots versus previous patches. I don't know if you all have ever played the historical Battle of Raphia that's on the game. I beat it on Legendary at one point, and I'm not all that good at the game. So how did I beat it on Legendary? It's because it was back before chariots had been patched, and you could just plow them through anything. And I mean anything. The front of pikes, the front of whatever, the side of whatever. There was no stopping chariots at one point, pretty much. So that's how I beat the historical Battle of Raphia, was I just took my chariots, plowed right through the front of the enemy pikes, and tore down their entire army. I had almost 1,000 kills on my chariots on Legendary. So yeah, I haven't tried playing it since then just to see how you could potentially go about it, but yeah, I mean, I just destroyed their whole army with my chariots. That's how strong they were. A lot of people used to ban them all the time, and rightfully so. I haven't used them in a long time, and I'm curious how strong they are. That's why I brought them. My opponent's wanting to get to an advantageous position. I was worried he was going to be going all the way for this hill, so I moved a couple of my noble blood cav to cut him off, basically, to make him not want to keep going up that hill. And then I've got a mercenary Celtic light horse right here in the front, just to kind of keep a threat on his skirmishers, not to let them get too far away from his protective barrier. He's keeping his men very tight and in a very defensive position because he wants to keep his skirmishers safe, and he doesn't want to get a citizen cav too far from infantry support. Now, how do Pontic swordsmen stack up against thorax swords or thorax hoplites? They have slightly less attack than a thorax hoplite or thorax sword. Let's see, melee defense goes to the thorax swords. Armor is the same. Health is less for Pontic swordsmen, and base morale is a little higher for the thorax sword. So the thorax sword is a better unit. The price on Pontic swordsman is a little lower though, so it kind of balances out. I saw an easy chance to kill a few of his Cretans, decided to take it. Plus, he throws a lot of javelins at my Celtic light horse, which is great. These are not light peltas, they're just standard ones. So he ended up using some pretty critical ammo there. Plus, it gives him a minute to focus on something while my swords move into position. So that kept them from being under Cretan fire as well. So immediately I've got my cavalry to his rear, and I've also got some on the flanks, and then I'm bringing my chariot up on the flank as well. So what's my plan? My plan, I don't really want to engage his hoplites, especially not the mercenary veteran ones. These guys have some huge armor and really good stats basically overall. If I engage them head on with my Pontic swords, it's going to take forever to win that fight, and his thorax swords will win the fight on the flank. So what I do is I decide to catch my opponent's cavalry on the hoof. He was paying attention elsewhere, and I'm able to get his cavalrymen while he's not paying attention, which means his citizen cav is just going to get utterly destroyed. And again, see, I've got a cavalryman on both flanks still to threaten his skirmishers, and I go ahead and engage him with my swords, trying to get some good charges. And he's going to charge me with his swordsmen, and then he's going to keep his hoplites in a defensive position so that his peltas can unload on me. So I really want to close the distance as quickly as possible so that his peltas don't have as good of an angle on my men. So you can see me closing the distance here, going to engage his hoplites in the center, and just try and keep his army pinned down. He's got hoplites defending his flank, though this is what I'm looking for right here. Charging straight into his thorax hoplites would definitely stop my chariots. But as you can see, his box here has a little gap right there, and that's what I'm looking for. Scythe chariots can kind of just keep on rolling if you give them the right opportunity. So I'm going to engage these hoplites with a swordsman, and then I'm going to try and shoot this gap and hit these mercenary veteran hoplites in the flank. So holes are what's going to help your chariots, in my opinion. If you go straight into infantry, they will get stopped. But see how there's kind of some holes here to allow some of my chariots to keep rolling. Also notice my attack order is actually on these peltists, because I want my chariots to plow through his men, not stop at his men. And sure enough, look how many of my chariots get through that gap right there. You can definitely see his hoplites slow down my other ones a lot. And then these guys, look how much it slows this one up. But again, the attack orders for my chariots are just going to keep coming so that I can try and keep units moving. And I mean, the number of kills on my chariots is going to pop up very quickly. They're all the way up to 70 now, just cruised on through 100. So I mean, you can see how devastating they can be. I didn't lose any charioteers yet, and they're already up to almost 200 kills instantly. And it's because they got back in here into all these soft targets and up against the flank of units. When units start moving to try and chase your chariots down, it just gives the chariots even more kills because they won't be braced. At this point, I'm able to use my Pontic Peltist as well. So I'm going to start throwing in javelins into the back of that mercenary veteran hoplite and just get my chariots away. So yeah, 200 kills. Look at the damage that reaped through his lines. Just huge damage. And then over here, I'm able to keep his thorax or mercenary veteran hoplites pinned, and then I'll just come into him from behind with my noble blood cav, so I can finish these guys off. Yeah, I bring my chariots back in for another charge against his thorax swords, who are winning the fight against my Pontic swordsmen, as to be expected. And again, every now and then you can see the chariots do get caught up in infantry, so really the key with chariots is keeping them rolling from a direction that allows a few of them at least to keep moving. You never want your whole unit to get stopped. Another way that you can kind of help that happen is if you spread them into a really long, thin line. It'll be harder for any one unit of infantry to just stop them. So you can charge chariots straight into the front of certain types of infantry in this game, and they will still be effective. Obviously, they're still very powerful. I didn't lose a single charioteer and just got 242 kills. That was brutal. That's elephant-type brutal. And there's a few things that could have helped my opponent there. First of all, getting some skirmish fire down on my chariots would have hurt them. But you'll notice that his formation was very compact, and his skirmishers were very compacted. They had very little room to reposition to try and get shots on my chariots. And I think that he assumed his hoplites were probably going to stop him. I had no idea what to expect out of the chariots in this fight. I just remember after having watched, I was like, holy crap, it's like those chariots shredded his flank. Totally surprised me. I was not expecting that. So that was a big deal, and I was just kind of like, good grief, man. I had no idea that chariots were still so effective. So are they like this in every battle? I don't know. I don't use chariots every battle, but it definitely should make me have a newfound respect for Pontus, because those scythe chariots are brutal. And Pontus has a nice melee cav unit too in the noble blood cav. Pontic swordsmen are cheap. Pontic peltist are great armor, readily available, decent price. Plus they got some kind of dolphin or something on their shield. I mean, why would you not want that, right? That's kind of cool. But in any case, no, I'm just making up stupid stuff now. Great game to my opponent. I actually expected this battle to be a little more challenging. Those chariots came through far better than what I expected they would. That was impressive. And it really kind of minimized the effect from all of his skirmishers, because when those few chariots got through that gap, heavier units like hoplites and thorax swords, they are harder to kill with the chariots. But soft units like those peltist and the Cretan archers, man, that is just a massacre when chariots start rolling over them, because they're not in a tight formation. They don't have the same bracing factor that heavy infantry do, and they just get rolled by chariots. So most of the kills of my chariots would have been from skirmishers. They did kill a fair number of his infantry, but a lot of those were probably skirmishers. In any case, great game to my opponent. It was interesting. Fun factions there. Probably don't see a Pontus-Athens matchup too often, so hope you all enjoyed it. HeirofCarthage signing off for now.